There's a man known as the Oracle of Omaha. He is not only one of the greatest investors of all time, but also a symbol of patience and discipline in business. For more than 60 years, he has written annual letters to the shareholders of Berkshire Hathaway. Behind the numbers and financial reports lies a treasure of wisdom about investing, management, and life itself. From these letters, we learn why Warren Buffett, with his simple lifestyle, sharp mind, and long-term vision, is admired around the world as a true legend of investing. Warren Edward Buffett was born in 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska. From a very young age, he showed an extraordinary interest in business and numbers. At just 11 years old, he bought his first stock. Unlike many who chase quick profits, Buffett built his fortune step by step, guided by discipline and long-term thinking. He founded Berkshire Hathaway into a holding company that owns businesses from insurance to railroads, from Coca-Cola to Apple. Today, Buffett is not only one of the richest men in the world, but also a mentor for millions of investors who admire his honesty, simplicity, and wisdom. As we look back on Warren Buffett's life, it is clear that he is not only a billionaire investor, but also a historical figure in the world of business and finance. His wisdom, expressed through decades of annual letters and personal decisions, has influenced generations of entrepreneurs and investors. But what exactly makes his philosophy so unique? What are the timeless lessons that continue to inspire people around the world? To answer that, let us begin with the very first principle that shaped his entire career, the foundation of value investing. Lesson 1: Value investing. The very first lesson from Warren Buffett is the timeless principle of value investing. This is not just a method of picking stocks, but a mindset, a philosophy that shapes the way he looks at businesses and opportunities. Buffett learned this idea from his mentor Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing. The core belief is simple. Instead of speculating on short-term market movements, an investor should buy companies that are fundamentally strong, reasonably priced, and capable of growing steadily for decades. To Buffett, a stock is not just a ticker symbol or a number flashing on a screen. It represents a real business with real employees, real products, and real customers. That's why he always asks, if I buy this stock, would I be happy to own the entire business, not just a piece of paper? One of his most famous quotes explains this perfectly. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. The market can be irrational, pushing prices too high or too low in the short run. But what truly matters is the underlying value, the company's ability to generate cash, to build brand power, and to survive over the long term. A great example is Coca-Cola. In 1988, Buffett invested more than $1 billion into the company. At that time, many thought he was too conservative, choosing an old soft drink brand instead of the next big thing. But Buffett looked at Coca-Cola's global presence, strong brand, and loyal customer base. Decades later, that investment has grown many times over, proving the power of focusing on value rather than hype. Another case is American Express. After a financial scandal in the 1,960 seconds, its stock price collapsed. Most investors fled in fear. But Buffett saw that the company's reputation, trust, and network remained intact. He invested heavily, and American Express eventually recovered, rewarding him greatly. The lesson is clear. Do not be blinded by short-term excitement or panic. Focus instead on the real worth of a business. Ask yourself, does this company have a competitive advantage? Can it endure tough times? Would I be comfortable holding it for 10 or 20 years? This patient and disciplined approach is what separates Warren Buffett from the crowd. Value investing is not about getting rich overnight. It is about building wealth slowly but surely, with a foundation that lasts for generations. Lesson 2: Patience and long-term vision. If value investing is the foundation of Warren Buffett's philosophy, then patience and long-term vision are the pillars that keep it strong. In a world where markets move in seconds and investors chase instant profits, Buffett stands out as someone who is willing to wait years, even decades, for results. He once said, "The stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient." To Buffett, investing is not about timing the market, but about time in the market. He believes that the longer you hold a great company, the more powerful the effect of compounding becomes. Compounding is like a snowball rolling down a hill, small at first, but as it keeps rolling, it gathers more snow and grows into something enormous. One of the best examples of his patience is his investment in See's Candies. Buffett bought the company in 1972 for $25 million. Many investors would have sold after making a quick profit, but Buffett held on. Decades later, See's Candies had generated over $2 billion in profit, far beyond the original cost. Another striking case is his investment in the Washington Post. In 1973, when the company faced difficulties, Buffett bought shares for about $10 million. Years later, the value of that investment grew to over $200 million. His patience transformed a risky decision into one of his greatest successes. The lesson is simple but difficult to practice. True wealth is built slowly. Most people are impatient. They want to double their money overnight. But Buffett shows us that the real magic happens when you stay committed to strong businesses, reinvest your earnings, and let time do the heavy lifting. Patience requires discipline, and discipline requires faith. Faith in the companies you choose, and faith in the principle that good businesses will thrive over the long run. As Buffett reminds us, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Long-term vision is about planting those seeds now and trusting that they will grow into forests for future generations. Lesson 3. Living simply and staying humble. Another powerful lesson from Warren Buffett is the importance of living simply and staying humble, even after achieving extraordinary wealth. Unlike many billionaires who live in luxury mansions and fly on private jets, Buffett has kept a remarkably modest lifestyle. He still lives in the same house in Omaha that he bought in 1958 for just $31,500. He drives an ordinary car, eats at McDonald's, and enjoys Coca-Cola every day. To him, happiness is not about showing off, but about doing what he truly enjoys. Buffett believes that simplicity brings clarity. By avoiding unnecessary distractions, he can focus on what really matters, making sound decisions, nurturing relationships, and living with peace of mind. Humility is also central to his philosophy. Despite being one of the richest men on earth, Buffett speaks in plain language, avoids arrogance, and is quick to admit mistakes. In fact, in his letters to shareholders, he often jokes about his errors, turning them into lessons for others to learn. A famous example of his humility is his partnership with Charlie Munger. Buffett has always credited Munger as a crucial influence in shaping his investment style. Instead of taking all the glory, Buffett openly acknowledges the wisdom of others. His modesty is also reflected in philanthropy. In 2006, Buffett announced that he would give away more than 80% of his fortune to charitable causes, mostly through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He once said, "I want to give my kids enough so that they can do anything, but not so much that they can do nothing." The lesson here is profound. True success is not about material possessions or public image. It is about living authentically, staying grounded, and remembering that wealth is a tool, not a measure of self-worth. Buffett shows us that even at the highest levels of achievement, the greatest strength lies in humility and the greatest joy lies in simplicity. Lesson 4. Learning from mistakes. One of Warren Buffett's greatest strengths is not that he always makes the right decision, but that he learns quickly from the wrong ones. In the world of investing, mistakes are inevitable. Even the most disciplined investor cannot avoid them completely. But what separates Buffett from others is his willingness to admit errors openly, reflect on them, and share the lessons with everyone. In his annual letters to shareholders, Buffett often writes with disarming honesty about his failures. He does not hide them or shift the blame. Instead, he explains what went wrong and how to avoid repeating the same mistake. This transparency has earned him not only respect, but also trust. A famous example is his investment in Dexter Shoe Company in the early 1992. Buffett bought the company for $433 million worth of Berkshire Hathaway stock. Later, the business collapsed because it could not compete with cheaper imports. Buffett called it one of the worst deals of his career, admitting that the cost to shareholders was in the billions. By publicly acknowledging this error, he turned a financial loss into a teaching moment for future investors. Another case is his hesitation with technology stocks. For decades, Buffett avoided the sector because he felt he didn't understand it well enough. This caution saved him from many bubbles, but it also caused him to miss opportunities in companies like Google and Amazon. When he finally invested in Apple in 2016, he admitted that he should have recognized its potential much earlier. These stories show us that even the greatest investors are human. Mistakes will happen. Another case is his hesitation with technology stocks. For decades, Buffett avoided the sector because he felt he didn't understand it well enough. This caution saved him from many bubbles, but it also caused him to miss opportunities in companies like Google and Amazon. When he finally invested in Apple in 2016, he admitted that he should have recognized its potential much earlier. These stories show us that even the greatest investors are human. Mistakes will happen. What matters is not perfection, but the courage to face reality and the humility to grow. Buffett teaches us that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey. Each wrong step, if acknowledged, becomes a stepping stone toward better decisions. His honesty reminds us that true wisdom lies not in avoiding every mistake, but in making sure we never waste them. Lesson 5. Generosity and Legacy. Warren Buffett often says, "You can't take it with you when you go." For him, wealth is not just a measure of success, it is a tool for making the world better. Throughout his life, Buffett has lived in a modest house in Omaha, driven simple cars, and avoided luxury for its own sake. Despite being one of the richest men alive, his lifestyle has remained remarkably humble. But when it comes to generosity, Buffett thinks on a grand scale. In 2006, he made a historic announcement. He would give away the vast majority of his fortune to philanthropy. Most of it would go to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and several other charities. His reasoning was simple: society had helped him succeed, and it was his duty to give back. This act of generosity is not a one-time gesture. Each year, Buffett donates billions of dollars worth of Berkshire Hathaway stock to charity. By 2024, he had given away more than half of his wealth, with a pledge to continue until nearly all of it is gone. His decision has inspired other billionaires as well. Together with Bill Gates, Buffett launched the Giving Pledge, a commitment by the world's wealthiest individuals to dedicate most of their fortunes to philanthropic causes. This movement has spread globally, influencing how we think about wealth and responsibility. For Buffett, legacy is not about having his name on buildings or monuments. Instead, it is about leaving behind a world that is more fair, more educated, and more compassionate. He believes that money, in the right hands, can fight disease, reduce poverty, and expand opportunity for millions of people. The lesson is clear. True success is not measured only by how much you accumulate, but also by how much you contribute. Warren Buffett shows us that generosity is not an afterthought. It is the final and most meaningful chapter of a life well lived. From a young boy delivering newspapers in Omaha to becoming one of the wealthiest and most respected figures in history, Warren Buffett's journey is more than a story of money. It is a story of discipline, patience, humility, and generosity. His lessons from value investing, independent thinking, and long-term vision to learning from mistakes and giving back are not just about business. They are principles for living a meaningful life. In the grand narrative of history, Buffett will not be remembered only for his fortune, but for the wisdom he shared and the example he set. His legacy reminds us that wealth is temporary, but values endure. As we reflect on his words and actions, we are invited to ask ourselves, what will our own legacy be? Will it be measured by what we possess or by what we contribute? Perhaps that is Warren Buffett's greatest gift to the world, not just the billions he has given away, but the inspiration he leaves for generations to come. If you found inspiration in Warren Buffett's story, we invite you to join us on this journey of exploring the lives and lessons of history's greatest figures. Subscribe to our channel, share this video, and help us bring more timeless wisdom to people around the world. Together, let us keep these stories alive not just as history, but as guidance for the future.